Well, good afternoon. If it's Mondays, 3 o'clock, it's Mondays with Michael live here on Facebook. Thanks for joining us. If you're in the room today, thanks for hanging out with us. If you're watching this post session, either on LinkedIn, Twitter, or Facebook, thank you for checking it out. Over the next 5 weeks, we're going to do a teamwork series that I'm calling #BetterTeams. It's one of the questions I get often asked by HR professionals is how can we make our teams work better together? Or Michael, I have this particular team that isn't working well together. It's getting quite dysfunctional, if you will, and we need a little help to try to figure it out. Over the years, we've done several different things to help teams. We've done obviously a lot of disc work and some other team building activities to help teams work. We've done some team strategy planning, vision and mission, those types of things. But we never really got down to the crux issues that were facing the team until about 4 or 5 years ago, when the Wiley Corporation, along with Patrick Lencioni, came up with this new program, The 5 Behaviors of a Cohesive Team. Based on his best-selling book, The 5 Dysfunctions of a Team, many of you probably have read that book already. It's been on the market for a very long time. We started using that program to help our teams work better together. So over the next 5 weeks, I'm going to go through each of those 5 steps that helps to make teams better. And today it's all going to be about trust. But before we get started with trust, again, I'm going to go to my notes here. I'm going to give you just a couple of things that we are offering. First, I'm offering a free consultation. So if you feel that your team could probably work better together and you want to talk to somebody outside of your business about that, I'm available. So I'm offering 30 minutes, an hour free consultation to talk to you about your team and what your team is facing. So if you want to do that, just send me a message in any of the platforms you're seeing this, and I'd be happy to set that time up with you. The other thing we're offering is a webinar on April 17th. I'm going to do a deeper dive on this entire program down to the facilitation. So if you're thinking about teaching the program, or if you're thinking about bringing this program in, I will do a little more nuts and bolts of the program. And again, I'll put that into the message here wherever you're looking at this, and you can sign up for that free webinar. So how do we start this program? So one of the key aspects of starting this program is to ensure that the supervisor manager is all on board with the program. Because if you're going to spend this much time, and this can be as much as 20 hours in this program, it's very, very important that the leader buys in. It's very difficult when we get hired by an HR department to help a particular team, and I set up a meeting with that team leader, and they tell me that, I don't think we're ready for this. If they don't think they're ready for this, we're not going to do this. But if they're ready for it, we're definitely all in. The way we lead the program is we have participants read the book, The 5 Dysfunctions, as part of free work. And then we start off with our first session. We talk about teams in general, but then we talk about their team in specific. Each participant takes the assessment, the 5 Behaviors of a Cohesive Team assessment. I'll be going through the assessment with you over the next 5 weeks, giving you some of the highlights that we review in the program and some of the activities we do in the program. And one of the first activities we do in the first session with the group is we come up with a set of team norms, group behaviors, team rules. Different teams call it different things, and it starts out by being acceptable behavior in the classroom, and it leads to a place in a couple modules about specific rules of the team. How do we interact? How do we behave? How do we get the work done as a group? So I usually start the team with a list of about 30 kind of cookie cutter team rules, team behaviors, and through a facilitated process, the team comes up with a set of accepted behaviors that they're going to live to, both for the training to start and eventually on how they do their work. But once we get through with that, then we actually go into the first module. Again, the first module is all about trust. It's about trusting one another. When team members are generally transparent and honest with each other, they are able to build vulnerability-based trust. And that's really what we talk about a lot in Module 1. Also in Module 1, your team will get the results of their survey, so we'll see what areas they're strong in, what areas they're not so strong in, areas they need to work on. Normally, there's usually at least 1 or 2 areas that the team needs to work on. A lot of teams, it tends to be trust. There's just not a lot of trust in the team for numerous reasons. There's a lot of history. There are a lot of things that have happened either past or recently that affects the trust of the team. Now, you really can't do this program with a brand new team. I get calls from clients to say, Michael, I got this new team I want to do this for. Really can't do that. This team needs to be working together. They need to have some history. They need to have some issues. And we're going to talk about those issues over the course of these 5 modules. So the Building Trust module, the first part of this is to actually take a look at the scores of the team's results based on their assessment of these questions. Team members acknowledge their weaknesses to one another. We talk about that. They assess that. The second one is team members' willingness to apologize to one another. Again, this vulnerability-based trust. When I mess up, I say I'm sorry. You know, you fall on your sword. That's part of building trust within the team. Team 3, team members are unguarded and genuine with each other, open, honest, and direct, back and forth. And then the last one in this section is team members ask one another for input regarding their areas of responsibility. Asking for help. It's very, very important when you feel you need help that you're comfortable asking for help, because this time you may need help, and next time one of your teammates may need help. So again, we go through those areas. There's a deeper dive discussion of the team scores. We break people down into groups. They share instances and why the scores are either high or low in those particular areas. And we spend quite a bit of time talking about those 4 areas and the results. And some interesting things come up. People start talking about it, and they start dealing with particular issues that have happened over the course of time. So we get through that module. Maybe we'll take a small break, that part of the module, and then we get into DISC. So this particular program I teach is a DISC-based program. There is another base program that's more centered on the Myers-Briggs type indicator. We call it all types. But I tend to do the DISC one because I'm a DISC guy. So we will spend time in DISC. So we will spend some time with the 4 styles of behavior. There are some activities we do around DISC. People will understand their style, read the map, and break down into the DIS and C groups. We'll talk about strengths, some limitations when it comes to trust in general based on the 4 styles. But they do spend quite a bit of time on the DISC map, and we get into those 4 quadrants a little deeper. So we've done that. We've taken a look at what the scores are in the general teamwork assessment. We go through the DISC profile to understand their strengths and maybe some shortcomings there. But then we get to a place where we're starting to build trust. What are the behaviors that need to change or be developed on the team for the team to build trust? So we go through another survey with the team, and they take this prior to come into class, and what is needed to achieve trust. And what the team does, it ranks which of these items is more important to them when it comes to building trust. So let me read these to you. So the team ranks these based on how strong they feel they really need to do this. So the items are reducing the amount of gossiping, admitting their mistakes, letting go of grudges, understood each other's working styles, we're more forthright with information, get to know each other on a personal level, readily apologize, spend more time together, share professional fails and successes, and we'll give credit where credit's due. Now, again, the team that you're working with or the team we're working with will score those or rank those differently than one another. But let me go through a couple with you that I've found over the years, that at least the last couple of years, tend to be interesting. So a lot of teams tend to have at least 2 of these on the top. Reducing the amount of gossip. Teams I tend to work with tend to have a lot of gossip, and that seems to be an issue with some teams. And letting go of grudges. I work with teams that have had something happen to either a pair or 3 or 4 people like years ago, and they still have a grudge. It's time to move on. So we talk about how to let go of grudges, and we get into this deeper dive about how to let go of grudges. But you know, there's the other side of this too, which is getting to know each other on a personal level and spending more time together. There are teams that actually like to do that. Go out to lunch, go to a ball game, go do some bowling. There are some teams that really like to do that stuff, and there are some teams that don't like to do that stuff for normal reasons, for other reasons. So it's good to talk about that, how spending personal time together may help the trust level back at the workplace. And then we get into the action planning part. And there's 2 action planning parts of this program. We'll talk about this. There's the personal action planning part. What can I do to increase trust on the team? And then there are action items what the team needs to do. So we go through the personal stuff first, and then I facilitate the team, what the team's going to work on. There are some suggestions in the guidebook. And then the team comes up with their first action plan as a group. They'll do this in each of the 5 modules along the way, and then we'll capture all those as we go along. We'll put together a team playbook, which is their action item book. So that's kind of the first module. Again, we're going to go through this over the next several weeks. I will put some information about the webinar coming up. And again, if you have questions for me about trust, if you want me to do this kind of one-on-one consultation about your team, I'm happy to do that. See you coming up top of the hour, top of the 10 minutes. So I want to say thank you for hanging out with me. Better Teams is our next 4 weeks. I'll see you next Monday here. Mondays with Michael live here on Facebook. Bye for now.